Across the endless grasslands of Mongolia, the wind carries whispers older than memory. It speaks of a man who united the tribes under the eternal blue sky, a man whose will bent empires, whose shadow still rides upon the storm. His name was Genghis Khan, the son of the steppe, the chosen of Tengri. When he died, the earth itself swallowed his secret. His tomb was never marked, his resting place erased from the world of men. Every attempt to uncover it has ended in silence and tragedy. They say the steppes remember those who disturb his sleep. The winds rise, the sky darkens, and the curse of the Khan awakens once more. Yet, the mystery endures. Was it truly the wrath of heaven that guards his grave, or the will of a people determined to keep their god-king undisturbed? Somewhere beneath these boundless plains lies the answer, buried in legend, guarded by the sky. And as the wind howls across the eternal steppe, one truth remains unshaken. The Khan is not forgotten, for even in death, he still commands the storm. The shadow of the Khan. Long before the world knew his name, the boy called Temujin was just another shadow on the steppe, born under an iron sky where the wind cut like a blade and mercy was a stranger. His childhood was written in blood and hunger. When his father was poisoned by rivals, his clan abandoned him. His mother and siblings left to starve among the frozen plains. Yet even then, the boy's eyes carried something fierce, something unbroken, the reflection of the eternal blue above. They say the sky god, Tengri, watches over chosen souls. Perhaps it was Tengri who guided the lone wolf through the storm, who whispered in his dreams of unity, of a world forged by fire and bound by will. For while others saw only tribes and enemies, Temujin saw a single people, the sons of the wind, scattered and lost. He learned that power was not inherited, but taken. Every betrayal became a lesson, every scar a weapon. Through exile and enslavement, he endured, not by strength alone, but by an unyielding faith that his destiny belonged to the heavens. And when he returned, he brought not vengeance, but vision. One by one, the banners of the steppe bent to his call, until the land trembled with a single name. Genghis Khan, universal ruler. But greatness comes at a cost. In the silence between wars, he began to hear the wind speak again. The same wind that once carried his cries as a boy. It spoke not of glory, but of a shadow. A reminder that even the mightiest conqueror walks beneath the same endless sky, watched by gods who grant no eternity. For the man who would unite the world was still, in the eyes of heaven, just a son of the steppe, and the steppe remembers everything. In the lost tomb. Centuries have passed since the great Khan rode beneath the eternal blue sky, yet his presence lingers like thunder before the storm. History remembers his conquests, his empire carved in blood and iron, stretching from the Pacific to the gates of Europe. But when it comes to his final resting place, history falls silent. They say that when Genghis Khan died, the heavens wept. His followers, the Kashig, sworn to guard him even in death, carried his body across the steppe under the cloak of night. No banners, no cries, no songs of mourning. They swore that no man, no empire, and no foreigner would ever desecrate the place where the great Khan returned to the earth. According to legend, thousands of horses were driven over his grave to erase its trace. Rivers were diverted, forests planted, and the land was made to forget. His tomb was hidden not beneath stone, but beneath memory itself, guarded by silence, protected by the sky. Yet, silence is a fragile thing. Across the centuries, explorers, scholars, and treasure hunters have sought the tomb, from Soviet expeditions to modern satellite scans. They believe it lies somewhere near the sacred mountain of Burkhan Khaldun, where Genghis once prayed to Tengri and vowed his soul to the sky. But those who draw too close speak of strange misfortunes, storms rising out of nowhere, machines breaking down, guides vanishing into the mist. Coincidence? Or something older, watching still? To the Mongols, the tomb is not a place, it is a covenant. To disturb it is to defy Tengri's will, to awaken the spirit of the Khan who vowed to guard his people beyond death. For in their belief, a ruler's body holds the essence of his destiny, and if that essence is broken, the balance of heaven and earth might tremble. Even now, in the 21st century, the steppe remains untouched, a sea of grass stretching to the horizon, as if hiding its secret beneath endless waves of green. The wind carries no answers, only whispers, the same whispers that guided Temujin when he was young and that now guard his eternal rest. Somewhere beneath that boundless sky, his tomb lies waiting, not for discovery, but for remembrance. And perhaps that is the truest secret of all, that immortality is not found in the flesh, nor in gold, but in the echo of a name that refuses to fade, Genghis Khan, the storm that never dies. The curse of Tengri. The Mongols believe that above all kings and all empires, there is only one true power, Tengri, the eternal blue sky. He gives life, he takes it, and beneath his vast gaze, even the greatest of conquerors are but dust in the wind. When Genghis Khan rose from the steppes, he claimed his victories not in his own name, but in the name of Tengri. Each conquest, each oath, each drop of blood spilled beneath heaven's dome was a tribute to that divine will. And so, when he fell, the same heavens that crowned him as ruler of all realms would guard him beyond death. They say Tengri himself sealed his tomb, not with stone, but with a curse. It is said that whoever dares to disturb the Khan's eternal sleep will awaken the wrath of the sky. Thunder will answer their shovels, and the wind will turn against them. For the spirit of the Khan does not rest in peace. It rides with the storm, watching, waiting. Over the centuries, those who sought his tomb have told stories of sudden tempests, of guides who vanished into dust, of cameras that recorded shapes in the clouds that looked like horsemen galloping across the sky. A Soviet expedition in the 1940s reportedly vanished without a trace near Burkhan Khaldun. Locals whispered that the mountain itself rejected them. Others spoke of unearthed relics that crumbled to ash as soon as they touched the sun. Is it a curse, or merely the land protecting its own memory? Perhaps both. For the Mongols say that the steppe is alive, that its winds are the breath of Tengri, and its storms, the voice of the ancestors. To dig into that sacred ground is not an act of discovery, but of defiance. And defiance against the sky carries a price. Modern scholars dismiss the curse as legend, yet none have dared to prove it false. Even satellites, those eyes of heaven, have failed to pierce the Earth's secret. The land remains untouched, as if time itself bends around the will of something unseen. In the end, perhaps Tengri's curse is not about death, but about remembrance. For as long as the Khan's tomb remains hidden, his legend endures, unbroken, unchallenged, immortal. It is not the grave that makes him eternal, but the mystery. And in that mystery, the power of Tengri still reigns, vast, unseen, and infinite. Beneath the eternal blue sky, the wind still carries his name. And when the storm rises, the Mongols say, "Do not fear. It is only the Khan riding once more, returning to remind the world that heaven never forgets its chosen." Between myth and reality, time has buried kingdoms, erased languages, and silenced empires. Yet the name Genghis Khan still rides upon the wind, a whisper that refuses to die. To some, he is a monster, a destroyer who drowned the world in blood. To others, a visionary, the architect of an age, a unifier of tribes and roads and destinies. But perhaps the truth, as always, lies somewhere between myth and reality. History speaks in fragments. We see the conqueror who reshaped continents, who built the world's largest empire from the saddle of a horse. But beyond the fire and steel, there was something else. A man who believed himself chosen by the sky, bound not by greed, but by purpose. He saw chaos where others saw tribes, and from that chaos, he forged order. He gave his people a single law, a single tongue, a single dream, one that would outlast his flesh, echoing through centuries. Even after his death, the world continued to move in his shadow. His sons and grandsons carved new realms, carried his vision across Asia and into Europe. From the Silk Road to the edge of the Danube, his influence bled into the veins of civilization, shaping trade, culture, and empire itself. And yet, as his legend grew, so did the distance between the man and the myth. Over time, the conqueror became a god, the steppe became a temple, and the silence around his tomb, a scripture written by the wind. No monument bears his likeness, no stone marks his grave, and still, he endures more powerfully than any emperor entombed in gold. For in forgetting his body, the world remembered his soul. Perhaps that was his final conquest, not of land, but of time. He transcended mortality by becoming untouchable, his story forever blurred between history and the divine. Each generation rediscovers him anew, in blood, in dust, in awe. The child of the steppes who defied the world now lives as something greater, a symbol of fate itself, the eternal dance between man and the sky. And so, the question remains, was Genghis Khan a man favored by the gods, or a god remembered as a man? Maybe it no longer matters, for as long as the wind still sings across the Mongolian plains, his legend will live, not as a tale of conquest, but as a reminder of how fragile and how enduring the human dream can be. Beneath the endless blue sky, where myth and history meet, his presence lingers. Neither ghost nor god, simply a shadow of eternity. The storm that once conquered the earth now rides forever in the heart of the wind. Legacy of the Eternal Steppe. Across 8 centuries, the steppe remains unchanged, an ocean of wind and silence stretching beneath the eternal blue sky. Empires have risen and fallen, their banners turned to dust, their names forgotten, but the spirit of the Khan still rides with the storm. His tomb was never found, because perhaps it was never meant to be. Some secrets belong to the earth, some kings belong to the sky. And Genghis Khan, the man who united the world by force of will, belongs to both. His curse became a legend, his legend became faith, and faith, when it endures beyond reason, becomes eternity. So when the thunder rolls across the plains of Mongolia, and the grass bends beneath unseen hooves, listen closely. That is not the past returning. That is the eternal heartbeat of a man who refused to be forgotten. The Khan sleeps, but the wind remembers. And through that wind, the steppe still speaks of power, of destiny, and of the storm that never dies.